Have you ever paused to think about how the simplest pleasures in life can truly enrich your experience? It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of modern life, constantly chasing after material wealth and believing that it holds the key to happiness. Society often tells us that accumulating money, possessions, and status will make us feel fulfilled. But what if the secret to happiness lies elsewhere? What if true wealth isn't about having more but enjoying less, savoring those everyday moments like a leisurely walk in the park or a heartfelt conversation with a friend? This idea of finding joy in simplicity is not new. In fact, many philosophers from ancient times to the present day have reflected on this concept. Among them is Epicurus, an ancient Greek philosopher who believed that happiness doesn't require extravagant pleasures. Instead, he suggested that contentment can be found in the most basic and accessible experiences. Epicurus himself enjoyed simple meals of bread and cheese, shared with friends while discussing philosophy. He taught that it is not the abundance of material possessions that brings satisfaction, but the absence of pain and the presence of pleasure, especially in its most basic form. Before we dive deeper into this philosophy, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay updated with more content on minimalist living, philosophy, and practical steps to enrich your life. Let's now explore how embracing simple, affordable pleasures can lead to a richer, more meaningful existence. 1. Epicurus and the pursuit of simple pleasures. To understand minimalism in its philosophical sense, we need to return to Epicurus and his teachings. Epicurus lived in a time when people, much like today, sought after wealth, power, and status. However, he took a radically different approach. For him, the path to happiness did not lie in the accumulation of wealth or the pursuit of power. Instead, he believed that the key to a fulfilling life was to reduce one's desires and focus on the pleasures that are easily accessible and free from pain. Epicurus made a distinction between two types of pleasures: moving pleasures and static pleasures. Moving pleasures are those that involve satisfying a desire, such as eating when you're hungry. These pleasures are active and require effort, and while they can bring temporary happiness, they are fleeting. Static pleasures, on the other hand, occur when a desire has already been satisfied, such as the contentment you feel after a meal. According to Epicurus, these passive, static pleasures are the highest form of happiness because they require no effort and bring a lasting sense of peace. This concept is central to understanding how minimalism applies to our emotional well-being. When we stop chasing after moving pleasures, those that require constant effort and leave us wanting more, we open ourselves up to the possibility of finding satisfaction in the simple, quiet moments of life. And in doing so, we avoid the stress, anxiety, and frustration that often come from the never-ending pursuit of more. 2. The modern minimalist movement. Fast forward to today, and we see a resurgence of these ideas in the modern minimalist movement. Philosophers like Epicurus may have laid the groundwork, but figures like Henry David Thoreau, and more recently Joshua Becker and Marie Kondo, have brought these concepts to a new generation. Thoreau is often considered one of the early advocates of minimalism, though his approach was rooted in transcendentalism. He famously retreated to Walden Pond, where he lived for 2 years in a small cabin, surrounded by nature and with only the bare necessities. For Thoreau, the purpose of this experiment was to strip away the excess and focus on what was truly important: nature, solitude, and self-reflection. He believed that by living simply, one could better connect with the world, and with oneself. As Thoreau wrote, "That man is the richest whose pleasures are the cheapest." Thoreau's philosophy resonates with today's minimalist movement, which emphasizes living with less in order to focus on more meaningful experiences. Joshua Becker, a leading voice in the minimalist community, argues that minimalism allows us to reclaim our time and energy from our possessions. When we declutter not just our physical spaces, but also our emotional and mental spaces, we can invest in the things that truly bring us joy: relationships, personal growth, and experiences. Marie Kondo, a tidying expert, takes a slightly different approach but arrives at a similar conclusion. Her method, known as the KonMari method, encourages people to only keep items that spark joy. By doing so, we surround ourselves with meaningful items that contribute to our happiness rather than clutter our lives with things that distract us from what matters most. This process of decluttering can also apply to our emotional lives. When we let go of relationships, habits, or thoughts that no longer serve us, we create space for joy and fulfillment. 3. The emotional and mental wealth of minimalism. One of the most significant benefits of minimalism is the emotional and mental wealth it can bring. When we reduce the clutter in our lives, we free up not just physical space, but mental and emotional space as well. This is where the philosophy of minimalism transcends the material and moves into the realm of emotional and mental well-being. Think about it. When you declutter your home, you often feel a sense of relief. The same can be said for your mind and emotions. When we let go of unnecessary attachments, whether they are physical possessions, toxic relationships, or unhealthy habits, we create room for more meaningful connections and experiences. Psychologists like Martin Seligman and Robert Emmons have studied the effects of practices like gratitude and mindfulness on happiness. Their research shows that when we focus on the things we are grateful for, rather than constantly striving for more, we experience a greater sense of contentment and joy. This aligns closely with the minimalist philosophy of appreciating what we have rather than desiring what we don't. In his broaden and build theory, psychologist Barbara Fredrickson emphasizes the importance of positive emotions in expanding our outlook and building resilience. Simple, everyday pleasures, such as spending time in nature, reading a good book, or enjoying a meal with loved ones, can foster these positive emotions and lead to a greater sense of well-being. 4. The cost of pursuing more. While minimalism encourages us to embrace simplicity, society often pushes us in the opposite direction. We are told that working hard to accumulate wealth and possessions will lead to happiness. However, this pursuit of more often comes at a significant cost. Consider the toll that overworking can take on our health and relationships. Studies have shown that consistently working long hours can lead to burnout, increased stress, and even a higher risk of heart disease. A study published in the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine found that working more than 45 hours a week for at least 10 years was associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. This aligns with the teachings of Epicurus, who warned against sacrificing our well-being for the sake of material gain. Moreover, the constant pursuit of wealth can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction and isolation. Zhuangzi, a Taoist philosopher, observed that people often chase after money, reputation, and achievement, only to find that these things do not bring lasting happiness. Instead, they lead to anxiety, mistrust, and a sense of alienation from others. This idea resonates with modern-day observations about the effects of materialism on mental health. Those who prioritize wealth and possessions often report higher levels of stress and lower levels of life satisfaction. 5. Finding wealth in simplicity. So, if the pursuit of wealth and possessions doesn't lead to happiness, where can we find true wealth? The answer, as both ancient and modern philosophers suggest, lies in simplicity. Epicurus believed that true pleasure comes from the absence of pain and the presence of contentment. This idea is echoed by modern minimalists who argue that happiness can be found in the simple, everyday experiences that don't cost much, or anything at all. Consider the joy of a home-cooked meal, the peace of a walk in nature, or the fulfillment of a meaningful conversation with a friend. These experiences are often free or inexpensive, yet they bring a deep sense of satisfaction. As Thoreau once said, "The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it." In other words, the value of an experience isn't measured by its monetary cost, but by the happiness it brings. Philosophers like Schopenhauer also emphasize the value of intellectual pleasures, such as reading, learning, and meditation. These activities are often inexpensive or free, yet they can provide a lifetime of fulfillment. Schopenhauer argued that intellectual pleasures are superior to physical pleasures because they don't come with the same level of pain or effort. In today's world, with information readily available online and in libraries, the opportunity to engage in intellectual pleasures has never been more accessible. 6. Practical steps toward minimalism. So, how can you start embracing minimalism in your own life? Here are a few practical steps to guide you on your journey. Step 1. Declutter your living space. Start small by decluttering one area at a time. Follow Marie Kondo's method by asking yourself if each item sparks joy. If it doesn't, it's time to let it go. Step 2. Adopt a one-in, one-out rule. For every new item you bring into your life, let go of an old one. This practice helps maintain balance and prevents clutter from accumulating. Step 3. Prioritize quality over quantity. Instead of filling your space with many items, focus on a few high-quality possessions that serve multiple purposes and bring you lasting joy. Step 4. Focus on experiences, not possessions. Invest your time and energy in experiences that bring you happiness, whether it's spending time with loved ones, exploring nature, or pursuing a hobby. Step 5. Practice gratitude. Regularly reflect on the things you are grateful for. This simple practice can shift your focus away from what you lack and toward the abundance that already exists in your life. Conclusion: true wealth lies in simplicity. In a world that often equates wealth with material possessions, minimalism offers a refreshing alternative. By shifting our focus from accumulating more to enjoying less, we can find a deeper sense of contentment and well-being. As Epicurus, Thoreau, and modern thinkers like Becker and Kondo have shown us, true wealth is not about how much we have, but about how much we appreciate what we have. The cheaper our pleasures, the richer we become. By embracing the simple joys of life, a walk in the park, a good book, or a conversation with a friend, we can cultivate a life that feels abundant in every sense. So, why not take that first step today? Simplify, let go of the excess, and discover the richness that lies in the everyday moments of life. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment "Simple Life" with your thoughts. Share this video with your friends and loved ones so they too can embrace the values and insights we discuss today.